Hi, everybody. Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the Computer America Show. We got Sandy Berger standing by. Hopefully, we'll get her on the program, and we'll get started momentarily. Sandy, can you hear me? Well, let me figure this out. Sandy, can you hear me? I hear you now, Sandy. I think it's your headphones. Oh.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4,
Sandy?
3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome into a Wednesday edition of the show. I just said that. I'm repeating myself. I'm saying the same things over and over again, being redundant. But it is Wednesday, and we have an interesting show planned for you. Tonight we have consumer electronics expert Sandy Berger here with us. But I don't know if she can hear us. I think we're having some technical difficulties. I'm sorry to go into the show with that. Sandy is here at the on a regular basis here on the show, and for some reason something is different. Sandy, can you hear me at all? Nope, she just bogged out again. So you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm just going to call her on her cell phone, and I think at this point and see if we can figure this out. If she doesn't come back momentarily, we'll do that. In the meantime, as I said, it's Wednesday edition of the Computer America Show, and Sandy Berger is our consumer electronics expert who appears here on a regular basis. What I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to try to call her on her. Oh, wait a minute. There she's back again. Hey, Sandy, are you there? Can you hear us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Excellent. All right. So let me at least introduce you. Okay. And
okay, go ahead.
all right. Well, as I said, Sandy Berger is our guest tonight. She's a consumer electronics expert, well-versed in things like printers, cell phones, digital cameras, and other devices. Her website is CompuKiss.com. That's COMPUKISS.com. And she's one of our Computer America correspondents who appears here on the show on a monthly basis. Sandy, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Craig.
Well, I'm glad to see that we've got you, at least. And
yeah, you lost me for a few minutes there, didn't you?
yeah. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up maybe we can put up a profile picture of you, because if people are watching us on the live, all they're going to see is a black screen.
Oh,
and we
okay.
Maybe we can do that. See, I have no way of doing that. That's under your Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you turn click the thing that turns your camera off, that will do that. Do you have your camera turned off? There it is.
There you go. Okay.
Now it works. Okay. Okay. Well, let me
technology is great when it works.
Yes, when it works. Yeah, I get the technology gods against us sometimes. But no, I think it's all fine now. Here's what we're going to do. Okay. We're going to be talking about different things with Sandy. If you have a comment or a question about what we're talking about, or you might have you're thinking about getting a computer or some consumer electronic product, and you have a question about it, maybe Sandy can help you, or we can help you. Give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. Email is set up. We have a special email inbox set up, and we're live and on the air. It is live, L-I-V-E, at ComputerAmerica.com. You can also join us in our live interactive IRC chat room. The way that works, you go to our homepage at ComputerAmerica.com. You'll see a button that's right in the sort of the middle of the page. Says live video and chat. Just click that, and it'll take you to our chat room and live video page, and you'll see the live IRC chat room, and it's going to ask you for a nickname It'll be on the left-hand side of your screen. That's the name you'll be known by when you go in there. It'll want you to authenticate that you are a live person. So it's going to have a captcha of a number or a couple of words. Just type those in, and then click the connect button, and your browser will move you into the Computer America chat room, which is that simple. And we've added something new too. Right below that is a button that says click for IRC clients, and if you do that, it'll move you to the bottom. It'll put you to our free software. Go all the way to the bottom. You'll see we have Chadzilla, Firefox, HexChat, and MRRC. These are different plugins for different browsers. If you click on the logos on any one of those, it'll take you to the page where you can download those. Basically, those just basically format the chat room nicely. It just makes it a little bit easier to participate in. So we just put those links in there for you, and then you can install them at a later time. But just go to the chat room. It'll be waiting for you there. So we just added that. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention also on that same page is our live Computer America video streaming page, and that's brought to you by Other World Computing. Quality products, expert support since 1988. They're now celebrating their 25th anniversary. If you have any computing needs for your Mac, for your Windows PC, for your PlayStation 4, for your Xbox One, or any of your computing products, Other World Computing probably has accessories and products for your personal computer. At their website, which is www.macsales.com. You can click right on the we have a link right there on our live streaming video page too. It'll take you right to the Other World Computing website, the macsales.com website. And there you will see not only incredible values for different products, memory, hard drives, connecting cables, I mean, you name it, anything, any accessory for your computer. It's all there. They have outstanding prices, and anything that you order that's over $49, you get free ground shipping, which means about to 80% of the country. That's in 2 days. You get the product in 2 days for free. You go there and check them out. They even have their own YouTube channel. They have online videos, instructional videos that show you how to install the things that you buy from them. They have a blog. They have the RocketYard.com blog. It's all available at macsales.com. You can read what's going on and the things that they're doing. They're an award-winning company now. They've won 2 Stevie Awards in August from the American Business Association. So congratulations. They are the award-winning Other World Computing. Check them out at www.macsales.com. You're going to find some great bargains. You'll be happy that you went there, and you'll thank us for it. Other World Computing, macsales.com. So you can watch us. Not only now tonight, Sandy's is not live. She has her camera turned off. I mean, I
am live. You
Yes.
just can't see me.
Yeah, we can't see it tonight. Normally you have your camera on, but for some reason you have your camera turned off. So I understand. The other thing I want to tell you about Sandy is that one of the things that we really like about her as being a Computer America correspondent is that when she talks about a product or a service, she is going to tell you what she likes about it, if she likes it, and why she likes it, if she doesn't like it, and why she doesn't like it. So you're going to get the real scoop about the products that she's talking about. She's not being paid by these companies. It's completely editorial and content, which we are here at the show. And so you're going to get the true scoop about anything that she talks about tonight. So that's really nice. Now, you can follow along with us. We have another something else implemented that makes things really good. If you go back to our home page and go to our show notes button there, you'll see tonight's show, which is September the 10th, and you'll see Sandy Berger. There's a link to her website, CompuKiss.com. It's all there. You can click on that, and it'll take you to her website. But also, there's another button there that says Cheat Notes. And if you click on that, you'll actually see what we're talking about. It'll open up a Google Docs document in your browser, and you'll be able to see what we're discussing. Not only you'll see the product, you'll see the description, you'll also see more importantly, the links to the products that we're talking about. That's will all be there on our website at computeramerica.com. So if you want to follow along with us, see the products, read the details, it's up there. Just click the cheat notes link at our show notes page at computeramerica.com. So I think that said, let's get started, Sandy. Now the first item that is a camera, and I go, whoa, because do people still buy cameras? I mean, we've got such outstanding cameras built into our smartphones today. The more recent smartphones, and not only cameras, but cameras that have the flash built in that gives incredibly correct skin tones. You can edit on the pictures that you take. You can upload them to the cloud. You can send them. You can email them right from your smartphone. You can do panoramic shots. You can do high definition shots. Our smartphones today are such complete integrated cameras that I kind of scratch my head and I say, why would somebody want? I mean, it's made by Sony. It's a beautiful looking camera. The A5000 mirrorless DSLR, digital single lens reflex camera. But why do people? Why are you recommending this camera in this day?
Well, first of all, serious photographers still use DSLR cameras, okay? Because that's the closest thing that we have to 35 millimeter. And yes, you're right. The iPhone and even the Android phones have some spectacular cameras, but you can't do as much with them as you can when you can set the different apertures and your lighting and all that. So yes, for anybody, or even as a hobbyist, I spoke to a photography club the other night, and they are all shooting with DSLRs. The reason is because they want to play with their pictures. They want to compose great photos, and you can do some of it with a camera that's on a phone, but you can't do everything. Okay, but you know how much people invest in the DSLR cameras? I mean, basically, a really good camera costs $1,000, and then you go on to add all the lenses and stuff like that, so it gets extremely expensive.
Well, I wonder about this because I was watching the keynote with Apple. And they were showing that the photographers that work with National Geographic.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, this is a professional photographer, and he's taking pictures with the iPhone.
Well, it's funny because the talk that I gave to the photography group the other day, my talk was basically that smartphones are changing photography, and that's what you're saying, and they are. But this is a different step, and we talked a lot about different apps and how inexpensive the apps are now compared to having a full version of Photoshop and all these other things that you can do. Mm-hmm. So there's really a lot going on in photography. But the idea of a mirrorless DSLR is a kind of a unique thing, and I'll tell you, I loved it.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. First of all, for those that aren't familiar with a single lens reflex camera, we're not even getting into the digital point, but the idea behind a single lens reflex camera is that when you look through the viewfinder, you're supposedly not looking, you're looking directly through the lens of which you're going to take a picture, so there's no parallax shift. In other words, what you see basically is what the picture is going to be.
Exactly.
If you're edging something right up to the edge of the viewfinder and you take the picture, that's what you're going to see. With the viewfinder, which is a separate little window that would look through the camera, your image was slightly off. It wasn't exactly what the camera was seeing, and it was subtle. But and for a point and shoot, well, not important. But for a professional photographer, they want to see exactly what it is they're about, the framing of what the image is going to be. So that's what single lens reflex camera. Now they've gone digital. Single lens reflex camera, and that's the same concept, but they're saying it's mirrorless. So
well, you have to explain. Just take your explanation of DSLR, which was absolutely spot on, to the next step, which is how they do it. they do it with mirrors that move back and forth so that you get actually to get through the viewfinder or even on the LCD to get exactly what you see.
Right.
So the next step, which is this camera that I'm talking about, is a mirrorless DSLR. And what they've been able to do is incorporate where you still have a very large sensor. This has an APS-C sensor, which is one of the biggest ones. So you get fantastic pictures just like you would with a larger DSL, but it's much smaller. It's half the size of a DSLR camera.
Okay, well, size is important, obviously, if you're going to be carrying this around with you. You don't want to. Now, is your mic banging up against something? Because I'm hearing this little tick, 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 tick. I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know. Let me see.
Is your mic at the end of a cable or something?
No.
No? Okay.
All right, I'll adjust it a little bit. See if that does it.
All right, good. It sounds better.
Maybe it's my heart beating.
Yeah. Could be. But if it is, you need to run to a cardiologist fast.
Okay. I better not be.
All right. So basically, it's a small package. Now, compare it to what, a size of a pack of cigarettes, or is it bigger? I mean, how about what size is it?
It's bigger. I really say it's about, you can hold it in your hand, in one hand.
Okay, and that's saying something, because DSLRs usually are very big and bulky. Yeah.
And bulky. So I'm saying literally it's half the size of one of the big cameras.
All right. Okay.
So it's very convenient. It's bigger than a point and shoot, and you can do removable lenses. That's the really big thing. You can change the lens, and this one takes Sony E lenses, so any E series lens will fit on the camera, and so you can do just about everything that you can do with a professional a high-end professional camera. But this camera costs about $449.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty good price considering what SLRs go for these days, because you can spend a great deal of money on a single lens reflex camera. And so it's coming from Sony. Now, people will say, well, if I'm going to go to a SLR, I'm going to go to one of the more well-known camera companies, but although Sony, I have to say, has made some outstanding cameras in the past.
They have.
Yeah, when you think of cameras, you usually think of some of the other more.
Well, the two you think of are Canon and Nikon.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right, and that's where this mirrorless thing. I can't say it falls apart, but the three camera manufacturers who are big into the mirrorless camera right now are Sony, Olympus, and Fuji.
All right.
None of those are what I consider second tier, even though I think Sony makes a great camera, and Olympus does too. The first tier really is Canon and Nikon. And although Canon and Nikon have had some mirrorless cameras, they haven't really had a focus on them. Photography term. How do you like that? So I think that if these cameras catch on, and they keep getting better and better, and that's why I reviewed this one, because it has reached the point of getting very, very good. If they get better and better, then Canon and Nikon are going to feel the pressure to get more heavily into the mirrorless area, and I think these will really take off then.
Okay. Yeah. So you would recommend this then to?
I think it's a great camera. It can do a lot of what you can do with a regular DSLR. It's got a couple drawbacks, and the one is that it doesn't have a viewfinder. Now, to me, that's relatively unimportant because I'm so used to looking at the LCD. I'm looking at the screen. The second thing is it doesn't have a hot shoe. So you can't, it has an integrated flash, but you can't put on additional flashes or things like that. And I don't think that's so bad either, because basically you have the small camera and you don't expect to have a big hot shoe on a small camera. I really believe that one of the problems with these cameras is because they've taken out the mirror, it is constantly focusing and refocusing. And so battery life is not as good as it is on some other cameras. But the cameras are so small and inexpensive that it's like nothing to buy a second battery, which if you're going to get one of these, I would suggest. But while I liked this camera and the pictures were great, it was a lot of fun, actually a lot more fun than using a big camera. But I think I would wait for the next version. And that's my main reason of what I didn't like about it is it has no touch screen. So this camera.
Yeah. In other words, that's important for for people who.
Well, it's important for to easily set your autofocus. And like when I took this to the computer club, to the photography club the other night, I had some men with really big hands saying, oh, the controls were too small for their fingers. Well, if they would make a touch screen, that would eliminate that problem.
Yeah.
So I would love to see this same camera with a touch screen for the same price. Just really, really good.
Okay. All right.
Next version.
Yeah. So you're saying you really don't want to go with this A5000 version?
If I was looking for a DSLR camera, I would definitely consider this one because you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. And because I'm not a professional photographer, I'm kind of, I play around with it. I love to take photos. I like to be able to set the ISO. By the way, this has an ISO up to 16,000. So I like to play with the different lenses and stuff like that. And this camera allows me to do that for an inexpensive entry cost.
So unless you're a pro, basically, I mean, if you have an iPhone 5 or 5S, and at this point, and you have something that's comparable, because the cameras and so that are really fairly competitive. I mean, are there things that you can't do on this that you can do on the smartphone, like the panoramic shots or emailing it? I mean, the integration
No, you can do all that. You can do all that on this phone, and this phone also has one very nice feature that I didn't mention yet. Is it's got built-in Wi-Fi and built-in NFC.
Okay, now why? All right, now why? I can understand why you might want Wi-Fi on a camera. Why would you want NFC on a camera? Okay.
Well, because I could take the camera and I can just say the new iPhone that they just announced. So I could go ahead and put it into my iPhone or a future iPad or whatever, and then I can use some of these many free apps to do my photo editing, which is kind of cool. People who like the apps because they're free, and what's happening with apps? Take Photoshop, and there's a company called Nik, N-I-K, who has made some great Photoshop add-ons. Well, since Photoshop and other Adobe programs have gone to a subscription basis, there's a lot of people that don't want to pay that yearly subscription.
Wow.
So Nik has actually been bought by Google, and Nik has an app that it's called Snapseed, which is fantastic, and you can do just about everything that you could do with your Photoshop, and your Photoshop add-on you can do as an app on the iPhone or the iPad. So the world of photography is constantly changing again. Before it was all about megapixels, and the more megapixels the better and all that, and it never was truly that way, but that's what they were selling. But now it's more about apps, it's more about digital, and there's a lot going on in photography right now.
Yeah, I guess, and you're making you're giving me good reasons as to why.
One of the other points. Hi, I'm Ben. I haven't talked in about 25 minutes.
Hey, Ben.
Hi. Is that someone brought up in the chat room actually was that with a DSLR camera, you don't have to pay for a subscription, data rates, cell phone coverage. You don't have to worry about that. It's just a camera. You don't have to deal with all the headache that comes along with it.
That's true. Very true.
So and I can feel Craig just looking, reaching, grabbing for things, trying to say, how can I ever justify buying a DSLR when I have this great iPhone sitting right here in my pocket? And some people, they have a lower end Android phone that doesn't have as good of a camera. So,
Right.
but they don't.
But they don't. I'm sorry. What?
Hmm?
We lost you, Ben. You say again. You repeat again. We got.
All right. Well, I don't know where you lost me, but I mean, sometimes people have a lower end Android phone, and they don't want to upgrade, change plans, change carriers, do all this other stuff. They just want a good camera. So yeah, many cases where someone can have a smartphone and a DSLR camera.
You're right. The multifunctionality of all these devices is wonderful, but it's not always what everyone wants. I mean, there's always going to be a space where you can have a dedicated camera or a dedicated ebook reader or a dedicated whatever that only does one thing and does it really well.
Okay. All right. I guess speaking as a person who has a relatively great camera in his phone, and it's not to say that I just don't have. I guess I don't have the interest to take it to the level of spending $450 for another device that I would have to carry. I mean.
All right, but
Uh-huh.
but Craig, let me put it this way: how do you take pictures with your iPhone? You basically take them with the auto setting, right? Or panoramic, but
Yeah, exactly.
but you don't take 5 minutes to set up your shot and all that, right? It's just a question of doing it quickly, right?
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much as convenient and setting it up quickly. Although
Right.
with iOS 8, they're adding even more features, special effects. The time was it time delay, or you can take it.
Oh, slow motion, slow-mo.
Well, they have slow mo now, but they're taking that.
They're taking it to the next level.
Yeah, and also where the jitter free. In other words, they're not only doing a digital stabilization, but they're doing optical digital stabilization now.
Right, right.
And
Well, there's no doubt that the iPhone and these other camera cell phones have great cameras. But my point is, if you really want to have full control over the picture that you're taking, you might need a better camera.
When you say full, you mean to do special effects? I mean, make it.
Yeah, to do HDR photography, and I know there's an app that you can do HDR, and it's pretty good. But a lot of people want to have control over everything that they do with the camera.
You know what I guess this reminds me basically, or I think it's synonymous to, audiophiles. Who will say, okay, for most of us, downloading the music and even downloading the higher quality music sounds great, but some people say, no, I still hear a difference, and I want it to be a warmer sound, and I want it to be, they say it's still not the same. I guess you can just. Maybe I don't know, maybe that's a good comparison, but it's close.
No, I think that's a good comparison. Actually, I still listen to vinyl records.
All right.
So even though I listen to MP3s and all that, and I have a lot of digital music, I do have a collection of vinyl records that I'll listen to. And the same with photography. When I want to pull out a fast picture, boy, my iPhone is there and I use it. But if I want to take a day and go shooting sunsets and various things like that, a camera like this is perfect.
What do you think that Apple said? Because they certainly did. What do you think they said to the guy from National Geographic, who also has obviously all the equipment, and he went out and he's shooting everything with his iPhone?
Well, I mean, if he can do it, more luck to him. Actually,
Yeah.
I was surprised at CES last year. I had a friend who, and I think Charles did the same thing. He actually shot everything on his iPad.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
got his video on his iPad.
Yeah.
I had 2 people I knew who did that. And here I was taking interviews and using a big video setup. Okay. And their stuff was almost as good as mine.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, he said there were people with the crash carts with all the equipment
Right.
and the lightings and
Yeah, I didn't go quite that far, but I did have a big camera.
and some people did go that far. They had that
Exactly.
and all this equipment. And basically, he was sitting there with his little $70 microphone and an iPad Air, and he was shooting amazing videos. I mean, high quality videos. So
Yeah. No, you're right, but I still think that there is a market and a need for a camera like this.
all right, you're listening to Sandy Berger. We're on the Blog Talk Radio Network. We're on the Boost Radio Network, although I understand they're having some problems on the Boost tonight, and the IRN Radio Network. To Sandy Berger about consumer electronic products. We're talking about cameras. We're going to be talking about the Kindle Paperwhite. We got lots more coming up. A news tip bulletin review from Marty Winston. All that happening. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No Hair Removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No Hair Removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. Their mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Bonsoir. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the Data Locker Sentry and Encrypt disks. It looks like other 8GB memory stick USB drives, but the Data Locker Sentry is very persnickety about letting anybody see your work with what's on it. You need to remember the password you set up, and it requires something complex, lowercase, uppercase, numerals, and a minimum length. So you'll have to think of something other than PASSWORD this time. The 100% hardware encryption is FIPS 140-2 certified, so breaking it won't be easy. They also included samples of their Encrypt disk, CDR and DVD-R FIPS 140-2 validated, 256-bit AES encrypted optical disks. Same deal. You create a password before you can burn them and can only read them after entering the same password. Bottom line, you can be lackadaisical about toting or shipping sensitive data because Data Locker Sentry and Encrypt disks are quite the opposite. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Thank you for that, Marty Winston. 33 minutes past the hour, we have Sandy Berger here, and we're going over products. Well, actually, to be fair, I think the last half hour can be categorized as we're probably going to be defending these products from how great Apple is, according to Craig. So,
not only Apple, but Android too. I mean, they all have wonderful phones. I was just watching this thing from Samsung about you touch anywhere on the screen and it uses lasers to actually give you the perfect image. You know what I'm talking about, Sandy, right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the smartphones have good cameras, no
Yeah.
doubt about it. But there is still a place for a little higher end photography.
Okay. And if you're looking for that, you can go take a look, check out the Sony A5000 mirrorless DSLR camera for $449. Although, Sandy, you're saying that if you suggest that they wait to the next version coming out of this?
Well, I'm not suggesting anybody wait. I'm just saying I would wait before I would buy it for myself. Because I tend to do that with, I usually wait for the third version.
Exactly.
Because the first two versions, they're still fixing things up. So that's just what I think about this. You could go out and buy this camera and be very happy with it.
Exactly. Jack in the chat room wanted to know how Marty knew his password was password. I told him. Psychic. Okay. And we just have a lot of fun in the chat room. Really, just head over to the Computer America chat room from our homepage and just join us.
Yeah, I see that Jonathan says every smartphone he's ever had has disappointed him in photo quality. So there you go. Maybe he needs the new iPhone 6.
Yeah, maybe he does. Yeah, exactly. Well, Jonathan, I think is a hard person to please. I mean, after the iWatch and the announcement and everything, he says, "I'm disappointed." I went, "Oh my God, how can you say that?" So I'm not sure what the. Anyway, we're gonna have Gene Steinberg here tomorrow talking about all that stuff.
I'll tell you, I found the announcement exciting, and I thought it was going to be totally boring. So,
yeah,
I'm the opposite of Jonathan.
Evidently. Let me ask you this just quickly, because we're not going to get into details, but are you giving the what you saw there, which is basically the iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus, and the iWatch? Would you want one if they were?
Well, the iPhone 6, I think that they improved everything dramatically. Where when they went to the iPhone 5, there was a slight improvement with everything, and it was not much. Yeah. But with the 6, they have done some dramatic increases or improvements. But the Apple Watch, I want one. I want one. It's going to be my New Year's present or whenever they come out, because I think that from what I saw with the presentation, extremely well thought out. And I just got done saying I usually wait for the third version.
Yeah.
But boy, when I saw that, it blew me away to think how much design capabilities went into it and how they really seemed like they thought through everything.
Well, as Tim Cook said, a lot of deep thought went into this product.
I believe that.
And I do too. I really do see that. There were a couple of things that had me worried. What I love about it is just the fact that it's when you bring your wrist up to look at the time, it turns on automatically. It senses. I mean, that is to me is just an amazing feature, because on a battery way.
That's not amazing at all. What are you talking about? That's the exact same thing they've had in iPhones for the longest time, where when you hold it up to your face, the screen goes dim, and then when you pull it away, it lights up again.
That is a totally different type of sensor. All smartphones go when you pull them up to your face. They so don't get.
That's the same kind of technology. It's just censoring one motion and the other.
No, they're doing some additional things too. I'm doing some research. And we'll talk about that with Gene. It's a lot more because you can swing your arm when you're walking and everything, but it's only when you bring it up and to look at it is when it actually comes on. And
I'm sure
it is kind of, and also the charging technology for it, which is I thought
that looked cool.
Yeah, that's very cool too. So, and they have, I don't want to get into all the stuff because we're going to talk with Gene about it tomorrow. But
I think you really do want to get into this stuff. You keep bringing it up.
I know, but I'm not going to. But yeah.
Well,
yeah.
The one thing when you talk to Gene about it tomorrow,
yeah.
The one question that I had is, they came up with this new Apple Pay, and being a tokenization that looks really secure. It looks like it's going to be very good. They also announced that you could actually use Apple Pay on the iWatch, and I wonder how that's going to be done, because on the iPhone they're using your fingerprint to verify.
Well, you have to have the Apple Watch has to be with your iPhone at all times.
Right. So if you but you're not verifying that purchase then with every purchase, or you are?
My understanding is that you have the iPhone with you, so you're going to have to use that for the actual validation and verification. But it's a good point.
It'll all be interesting to see, no doubt about it.
They didn't have anywhere near enough time to talk about everything this watch does. They just did a few things. I mean, he talked about that they're using it with the Apple TV, and they're using it with. There's so many other abilities that they really didn't get into. They can only cover what they could cover. So I think as time progresses, more of these features will come to light. I love the fact that it's not the vibrate. It's like somebody tapping your wrist. The tap.
Yeah, that sounded really cool.
You get freaked out. Somebody just tapped me. Ooh, who is that? It's my Apple Watch. All right, so basically we at least for now know that you really like them and you do want them. You want these new products. So I think
the best thing, or one of the best good things about it, is that they say the new iWatch is going to work with the iPhone 5.
Yeah, actually,
so I don't have to get a new one.
Yeah, it goes back. I think it goes back to the 4S. I think it's going to work with the 4S, the 5, the 5C, the 5S, and the S, and then the 6 models. Yeah.
And by the way, the iWatch is going to come in gold to match your iPhone.
Well, not only gold, and rose gold too. They're gonna.
Real gold.
yeah, and it's 18 karat. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But
you can buy me one of those. Craig, you can buy me one of those.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact is that you can interchange the bands too, which I think is kind of slick. So.
Well, that's kind of what I meant. Part of the idea that they really did think this through.
Hold on. We now we're getting from Blog Talk Radio. What happened here? Okay, well we're still on Google, but for some reason Blog Talk Radio has decided to drop us. So I'm going to go to an alternative Blog Talk Radio and see if we can get back on. With that, there we go.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
Okay, and so I guess we're back to a Blog Talk Radio. Sorry, we just had a little hiccup there, but we're back and we're continuing on. So Sandy Berger is here with us. So you were saying, Sandy? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But...
I was saying that just the idea of the interchangeable bands on the Apple Watch, and the idea that they're having two sizes. Is like they've really thought through the design capabilities of this thing and the interface. So it'll be really fascinating to see when it comes out.
Yeah, I agree. And again, next year, looks like. So we'll obviously get a lot more information about it as it gets closer.
And I guess maybe that's the other thing, too. They're not rushing it for the Christmas selling season.
No.
Which, if they could, they would. But they're not rushing it, which is probably good.
Yeah. I guess they just want to make sure they do it right and they don't stumble, which makes a lot of sense. But yes, I think one of the big features on this thing was customizable. It's amazingly customizable, right down to the different watch faces that you can do. All right, so
I'm glad we didn't get sidetracked for 12 minutes right there.
No, we didn't. You're keeping track. Okay, let's talk about this next thing from Amazon, and that's the Kindle. Now, the Kindle, a very popular e-reader. And you want to speak specifically about the Kindle Paperwhite, and I take it you've had some hands-on with this.
I have, and this is one of the products that I did not like the first version at all.
I remember that very clearly. You didn't like it because the little LEDs would shoot up from the bottom, and you'd see like little shadow effects. And
That's right. Right.
Yeah, I remember very specifically why you didn't like it. So this is the next generation?
Yes, and Amazon must have read my review because they totally repaired that problem. And I'm not sure they have a backlighting on it. I'm not sure what they did to change it, but they changed it. And the backlighting is beautiful. It's even across the whole screen. And it just, I have a regular Kindle. An old Kindle, which I still read on. But the Paperwhite is really great because you can read it at night in bed without a light on. Right?
Yes.
The old Kindle, you couldn't do that. Plus, they've improved the screen so the white on the Paperwhite is whiter, and that makes the black, deeper.
Well, let me ask you this.
Better contrast.
So is it actually a backlit screen, or are they still lighting it from the bottom? Or is the whole page now, is the lighting distribution equal, and do they compensate by a backlit screen?
It's backlit, it's an equal distribution all across. You don't see any blotchiness or any shiny parts or brighter parts, which is what the problem was with the first Kindle Paperwhite.
Okay.
But it is still black and white only. It's not a color screen as you get on a regular Kindle tablet.
But I mean, they're trade-offs. This is using, I believe, an e-ink display.
Yes, they still use e-ink.
E-ink. So that really is extreme. So when you're out by the pool or something, and maybe your backlit LCD color screen is going to is harder to read in direct sunlight, this, I understand, is completely legible.
It is. Yeah, you can take it to the beach with you, or you can take it to bed at night, and that's the beauty of it, really. The other thing is that it's got a very nice touch screen, so you're just touching to flip the pages. There still is a little bit of a flash type thing on the e-ink when you change pages. I think you get used to that quite quickly.
What kind of a flash? Oops, sorry, I'm playing away. What kind of a flash?
Well, when you change the page on, say, a Kindle tablet or an iPad or something like that, you just see the page go to the next page, and there's no flash. But on the e-ink readers, there's just a slight flash of light. It's just a simple, quick thing. Like I said, you get used to it, but it is there.
Now, and this has all the things it's more than just a way to read a book. I mean, you have online, you have dictionaries and Wikipedia. You basically you can look up things on whatever you're reading at the particular moment. I mean, it's I mean, talk about some of the features that you can do with this.
Well, it's got all the advantages of a regular Kindle reader. So basically, you can download books directly to your Kindle. Takes a couple minutes at most to actually buy a book. You can store about 1,000 books on it. It's got great battery life. I mean, you charge it up maybe once a month versus once a day on some things. You can get a Wi-Fi version, or you can get a 3G version. Now, the Wi-Fi version with what they call special offers is $119, where the 3G version is $209. So unless there's some spectacular reason why you need the 3G version, I think that's a little pricey. I think maybe even $119 is a little pricey, considering you can get a full-blown computer today for about $200.
So, where would you? In other words,
well, we're back to the dedicated product thing that we talked about with the camera that Ben brought up and said sometimes it's good to have just a dedicated product, and that's what this is. I mean, you can go online with it, and it's got some additional things like you can look up words and all that. You can actually build your vocabulary up, but it is a dedicated e-reader, and that's the beauty of it. That's all it is. That's all it does, and it does it extremely well.
Yeah, I guess when you're not trying to be a jack of all trades.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, yeah. You're not the expert in one thing. In other words, you want to be you have a dedicated device to do one specific thing, and that's reading a book. However, with all the embellishments that you get with an e-reader, like looking up things and all of. I mean, the internet connection, I would assume, allows you to get things like Wikipedia and
yeah, and you can download books very easily. You can also put your own documents on here, which is a benefit for certain people.
Yeah, they have something called X-ray.
Oh yeah, X-ray is another new thing that you can see. Oh, you can see anything about one character in a book. You know, you can see where that character has appeared and things like that. But another kind of neat thing about this reader is that you can now jump to the next chapter and without losing your place. You can even jump to the end of the book if you're reading a mystery and you want to find out what happens in the end. I can't imagine why anybody would want to do that, but if you want to, you can, and you don't lose your place. And of course, that's the beauty of Kindle, is that you can read your Kindle on any other device, your Kindle books, on an iPad or an Android tablet or a phone, and you know it'll keep track of where you're at all the time.
Now, one of the things I like about this, and this I would think would be very handy, is that you always wonder, you don't want to put the book down. You want to read, like, say, the next chapter, and you want to know if you have enough time to squeeze it in. Evidently, there's a mechanism where you can see at a glance how long it'll take to finish a chapter in the book or the rest of it. And it's called time to read.
Right.
Which is kind of, have you ever used that before?
I have, and it's very interesting because, you know, Amazon knows how fast you read.
Yeah, really.
Which is, in a way, intimidating. And the one thing that I find intimidating, which is kind of silly, I guess, but I tend to download more books than I read. Okay, because, you know, I'm going to read this tomorrow, and you know how that is.
Yeah.
My house is filled with books that I probably haven't read yet, too. But sometimes I think about it, and I think, you know, Amazon knows exactly how many of those books I've read and how far I've gotten in each book. And if you think about that, that's a little bit of a loss of privacy.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
You know, I mean, it's just a little thing. But you know, if you're reading a book and you get to the end of the book, Amazon knows, because you know you'll get an email in a couple days that'll say, "How did you like the book?" or an email that promotes the next version of the next book in the next series in the book. So.
Now, if you're reading a book that has a lot of footnotes, they have, instead of going to the bottom of each page, they have something called inline footnotes, which is a new feature.
Yeah, and they've got child reading, and I haven't really looked at that, but it's actually your children can learn and improve their vocabulary, but you can use that as well.
Yeah, well, the inline footnotes is basically with a single tap, you can read the text of each footnote without changing a page.
Right.
Or the position, which is kind of nice. Another thing is that you can share with friends on Goodreads.
Yes, you can share what you're reading, and you can get ideas for new books, and it's very interactive, which is kind of nice.
Okay. I think the thing was called Kindle Free Time. Was that the kids feature?
I'm not sure the kids features.
Kids read even more with free time for Kindle Paperwhite. I'll let you create personalized profiles for your kids and give them access.
Yes, okay. Then that is. And like I said, I haven't looked at the child features of it yet.
Right. And also you can enhance your vocabulary, which is
right.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, you can actually, every time you look up a word, you can have that word into your personalized dictionary, and you can even create flashcards that will question you on that word if you remember the meaning of it or not, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, okay. And then also you can organize your books. You know, as your collection grows, you can use Cloud Collections, which is a new feature to arrange titles in custom categories and see your collections on your other Kindle devices and reading apps. So these are some of the new features that go with this model.
Right.
Yeah. So they offer a lot of new features and abilities. You can even and I don't find this surprising, but you can translate passages. So if you're reading or something that might have another language, you can translate that passage.
Yeah, there's a limited number of languages that's available in. but
Yeah.
you know, the more common languages you can usually get up that.
Okay. So again, $119 for this.
And I will say, every now and then Amazon has where they sell refurbished paper whites or something like that, maybe closer to $80 some, $90 than 120.
How does it feel in your hand? I mean, holding it, is it a
It
one?
it's a one-handed thing. It feels really good. It's a 6-inch screen, so it's just big enough to read. And of course, just like all Kindle readers, you can change the size and the font of the text. So if you want to read without your glasses on, you can make the text bigger.
That's nice. That's very
yeah.
nice. Especially as you get older, your eyesight tends to, the characters get a little fuzzy.
Yeah, if you don't want to run and look for your readers all the time, or you can't find them right now, you just make the text bigger, and it works out beautifully.
This way, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, if you do a lot of reading, or you read a lot of books. Ben reads a lot of books. I don't know if you'd find this.
Do you have a Kindle, Ben?
I had one tablet. It was not a Kindle, but I have a roommate that uses a Kindle pretty much exclusively, and he loves it. He reads just as many books as I do, and yeah, they're great.
Well, one reason that I really like the Paperwhite is that it's a lot easier on your eyes than reading on a Kindle tablet or an iPad or anything like that because of the backlighting. It's just easier on your eyes. And when I use the computer all day, my eyes do get strained and get tired. And I found before I had the Kindle, I was not reading in the evening like I would like to because my eyes were just a little too tired.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like the e-ink technology. It's not as colorful as seeing, the pages and all that in color, like you can with some books, but it's quite nice.
Well, if you have illustrations in the book, obviously the color is nice. But if you're
Right.
you're not really looking at illustrations. You're reading the book. I mean, I look at some of the books that Ben reads. I mean, they're like 3-4 inches thick. I mean, it's amazing, and he gets through them in a couple of days. It's just
Right. Well, I just spent the last week cleaning up my house a little bit and going through all the books, and I've now given away about a dozen boxes of books. And that's the beauty of the Kindle is that you don't have all that.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, when I remember cleaning out shelves and shelves of books that were no longer read, and of course, if you had the e-book back, you don't have to deal with that kind of thing. Everything is no, and when you buy the book, it's your book. You keep it forever. I mean, the e-book. You can share it or something, but basically, it's your book, and you don't have all the. So unless you're looking to fill up your bookshelves, you have a library in your home, and you want to. But even then, I guess that gets filled up. This might be something to consider. It really is.
No dust.
What about what about textbooks though? Are textbooks available for these things?
Yes, and they're becoming bigger and bigger. On the Kindle digital textbooks, of course, are very, very big.
Yeah, exactly.
And also there's a Kindle's owner's lending library. You can one book a month you can actually rent, and you can borrow your book to friends. So they have initiated some new things like that, which are kind of neat.
Okay. All right. So it's the Kindle, Amazon Kindle Fire.
No, Kindle Paperwhite.
It's the Amazon Kindle Paperwhite.
Right.
Wi-Fi, the new Paperwhite display, high resolution, high contrast, next generation built-in light. Thanks to Sandy. Again, $119 with special offers, I guess.
And to tell you the truth, I have had companies that have come back to me and said, we made this change based on your review.
Yeah.
And I really doubt that I was the reason Amazon changed theirs, but there have been a few companies that have done that.
Yep. When you're in the media and you do that, I mean, I've gotten that too a number of times. People say, we made these changes because basically what you suggested, or there were guests on the show. And I make suggestions, and they come back on the show like 6 months or a year later and say, that suggestion you made, that's why we have it now. So.
And it is gratifying when they come up with something like that.
Extremely gratifying.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got another hour of the Computer America show coming out. Some of the stories we're going to talk about with Sandy, these are stories that she's written, is how to secure your nude photos and other data in the iCloud. Okay, so we're going to find out what that's all about. Also, Sandy's got an article, and again, if you're looking to buy a computer, can you believe that she's got a recommendation of a really good computer for about $200? And also, we're going to talk a little bit about Windows 9 in the next hour, and the possibility that Microsoft may move to a subscription basis for Windows. And also, we'll talk a little bit about Windows 7. Will it not be disappearing from store shelves soon? It might not be what you think. All that coming up in hour 2. This is the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, the IRN Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And very quiet in the first hour.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you two just were on a roll kind of thing.
You on a roll, yeah. Exactly.
And I was sitting over here, and I have a chalkboard that I hold off of, off the side of the webcam, and I'm marking every time Craig mentions how great the iPhone is and the new iPhone 6 announcement. So we're currently up to about 318. We're hoping to make it 400 before the night's over.
That's a lot of marks. That's a lot of marks. Okay.
I know.
Well,
Crazy.
tomorrow we're really going to get into it with Gene Steinberg, our Apple aficionado, Apple expert. He watched the entire live video, so it's going to be an interesting show tomorrow night as well. Not that this isn't interesting, because it is extremely. In the first hour, we talked about a number of things like the new digital SLR camera from Sony. And why Sandy thinks that it may not be a good value. You might want to wait till the next version's coming out. We also talked about the Amazon Kindle Paperwhite. And before we go to you have a little thing here which talks about it was like some nostalgia here from Microsoft circa 2001.
Oh yeah, when I was watching the Apple keynote where they announced the new iPhones and the Apple Watch, the iPhone is so thin now. Yes. I mean, the new iPhones, and I thought to myself, well, my goodness, remember the first breakthrough for Apple was really the iPod. And so I got out my original iPod, which was the second generation. The first generation was only for the Mac, if you remember.
Yeah.
And it came out in 2001. I got mine in 2002, which also ran on the PC. And it had this little tiny 2-inch screen. It's twice as heavy as an iPhone. And amazingly, the thing cost $400 back then.
Wow.
So I was really impressed by how thin and small the iPhone is, and of course the Apple Watch even smaller.
Yeah. The iPhone 6 now looks like the iPod Touch.
I think that's also what reminded me of the original, to pull out my iPod. And I really wanted to see if my original iPod would still work, and you know what? I forgot that it was hooked up it didn't have an Apple dock like the 9-pin dock or whatever. The very first one or two that came out had a FireWire.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I could not find my FireWire cable.
Oh, the chart.
I haven't used a FireWire cable in so long that I actually could not find one.
I'll bet you though, if you find it or you do and you hook it up, it's going to work.
I think it will too, and maybe by next month I'll find it and I'll let you guys know if it really worked. I'm interested to see what kind of music I was listening to back in 2002.
That's right. You'll get a little retrospective of your music tastes.
Right. Yeah. Should be interesting.
Did you see what they did with U2? They in the keynote they gave away the newest YouTube album that's coming out.
U2, yeah.
U2, yeah.
Yeah, U2, the album, and for free. Everybody now who has iTunes gets a copy of the album, which was amazing. I think 500 million. And he said it's going to happen in 5 seconds. He had U2 up on stage with him, and he went 5, 4, 3, 2, and he says it's going to 500 million. And the guy, he says, not is that really happening? After he went along with it, and he said, no, he says it's really happening. And evidently,
yeah.
First album that they've ever done that, where they just give it for free to every iTunes owner out there. So if you see this album on your iTunes magically appearing all of a sudden, you know you didn't order it. If you go now and you look at it, it tells you whether it's been purchased or not, and under it it says it's shaded out, it's purchased. Everybody gets it. It's there.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
That was kind of neat. But I digress. That doesn't count as a tick mark, Ben.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
Yes, it does.
No, it actually doesn't. It only counts as, let's see, that was going on for 5 minutes, so yeah, one for every 10 seconds. That's a good another 30 marks. Good job, Craig.
Okay.
Well, now let's talk about Microsoft for a minute, because when I pulled out my old iPod, I found a little box that was from Microsoft from about the same year. It was from 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is it was some what they call stress balls that came in a little Chinese box,
yep.
2 balls that you're supposed to hold in your hand and
shuffle them. It's like, I don't know if it was like Captain Queeg from the old Humphrey Bogart movie. He would those little stainless steel balls, but these are the same idea. They're stress relief, and you roll them around in your hand. Yep.
Right, and they make a little noise, and
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if they really relieve stress. But I think that the reason I bring that up tonight is because the little card that was in this box was from Microsoft, and I found it very interesting. The card said, "Happy Labor Day. In honor of Labor Day, here's something special to help you relieve a little stress.
Mm-hmm.
Soon Microsoft Windows XP will be available to help you relieve the stress of working with your home computer. Windows XP helps you unlock the possibilities of your PC."
There you go.
So that's what they were promoting back in 2001.
That is funny. That is very funny. Little did they know how much stress it was going to cause.
Exactly. And I think about things like email and not that email is not wonderful, but it sure does get aggravating sometimes. Along with all the other problems that we have with our computers today that cause more stress than it really solves. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
That had to be because people probably thought that computers made things instant, so it made them faster, and you weren't sitting around waiting, that kind of thing. But the way that we use computers, now that everything's instant, we catch up to computers. Before you could wait for the mail. It's in the check's in the mail. Don't worry about it. But now everything's instant right away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes I'm on the phone with Craig and he's like, "Did you get my email?" I'm like, "No, did you send it?" It's like, "Oh yeah, no. Here, let me send it." And then he asked me if I get it 3 seconds after he sent it. It's like everything's just instant now, and people have to catch up to that. So more stress.
More stress. You're absolutely right, Ben. I think that the technology, the whole world of technology has brought us great benefits, but it's actually brought us a lot of stress. So I guess I'll just be using these stress balls more often than not, huh?
Right. Back from 2001. I guess they're still good. There's no batteries required,
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Exactly. Well, again, if you are just joining us, Sandy Berger, our consumer electronics expert and correspondent here on the show, is joining us, and we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit, and we're going to go to some of the articles that she has written. And again, you can see all of this if you go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com. Today's show is September the 10th. And again, you see Sandy's name is a hyperlink. You just click on it and it'll take you to CompuKiss.com. But more importantly, as well, is that you can follow along with us just by clicking the cheat notes link that is there. And by the way, you can also see this if you go to Facebook.com/ComputerAmerica on our Facebook page. Everything is listed there as well. The link is there, and you can follow along with us. But if you click the cheat notes, it'll open up a Google Docs document to which you can kind of participate and see and just kind of follow along with what we're doing here. Of course, you can also call us. Our phone lines remain open at 347-884-8881. If you have a question for myself or for Ben or for Sandy on anything we're talking about, give us a call. So this first one, again, is how to secure, and I'm reading exactly from the headline of the title. It's how to secure your nude photos, and then parentheses, and other data in iCloud. Now, why did you decide that?
Well, I guess it was last week or not too long ago, there were a lot of celebrities that got their photographs, their nude photos, sent out to the whole world because somebody hacked their iCloud accounts, and then they made their photographs. They sent them out for everyone to see.
Yes.
So, the thing here, the thing that really made me mad was that Apple took no responsibility for this. They basically said, no, we didn't do anything. There's nothing wrong with our system. And then almost immediately after the hacking, they said that there's no flaw in their security. But a couple days later, they announced that they were going to be strengthening their security members.
Uh-huh.
And the first thing they said was that they were going to strengthen their security by sending out, if anybody tries to hack your account, they will send you an email that this is happening. Mm-hmm. Well, think about that, Craig. Think about that, Ben. If somebody's hacking their account and they send you an email, by the time you get the email, they've got their hands on your data, so what good is that? Okay.
Well, it's been stolen.
What's that?
At least know that it has been stolen.
Yeah, you know it's been stolen, but if your new pictures are out there, they're out there. There's no getting the horse back in the barn, as they say.
Well, then the motto is just don't have nude photos of yourself in the first.
Exactly. Don't put anything on the cloud that you don't want everybody to see, for sure.
Exactly. I mean, I think kind of moot. That's obvious.
No, that's no fun, people. That's not the world we live in.
That's right. You're absolutely right. So people will continue to take pictures with their iPhones, and they will continue to, well, hopefully they won't continue to be hacked, because Apple, after that, Apple announced that in iOS 8 they were going to implement two-factor identification.
Oh, yes, two-step authentication. Exactly.
Right.
Now, what is for our listeners? What is two-step authentication?
Well, two-step authentication is when you need two things to actually access your account. You not only need a password, but you need a code. And that code, generally today, the way they're doing the code is that you give Apple your mobile phone number, and when you try to access your account from a new device, they will actually ask you for your password. Then they'll send a code to your mobile phone, and you need to give them the code as well. So that means you not only have to know the password, but you have to have access to your own phone. Mm-hmm. So that really does prevent hackers. And Apple had a two-step verification or authentication for their payment system previously. Mm-hmm. So it protected, your credit card and things like that, but they never had it on your iCloud account. They never had that on the data. and yet in iOS 8 they are going to have it.
Yeah. By the way, are you wearing an earring by any chance? Because it sounds maybe the earring is hitting up against something. I still feel that little
No
knock.
earring, but I am hearing that too. Maybe I need some new headphones.
Okay.
All right, let me adjust it.
I've never heard of that symptom. Usually it's for cars when you hear knocking, something's wrong, but I've never heard that for microphones.
All right, I adjusted. Tell me if it
Okay.
Sounds good?
better.
Sounds better so far. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you got the two-step authentication process. Okay.
Right. So you have to implement it though.
Mm-hmm.
It does not come on default on any cloud service that I know of, and this two-step authentication is available on Dropbox and Gmail and just about all cloud accounts that you might have. OneDrive, Microsoft OneDrive, they all have it, but you have to implement it. So basically, I've written this article that actually takes you through the steps on how to implement it. It's an easy thing, and you should be doing that on all your cloud accounts. Now, with the Apple account in particular, you are also going to have to update to iOS 8 when it comes out.
I was going to say iOS 8, which is
now, I think it's coming out next week, is it not, Craig?
I think it's September the 12th.
Okay. So you will not only have to implement the two-step process, but you'll also have to upgrade to iOS 8 in order to have your data protected.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and this is strictly though with the iCloud accounts.
Yes, that we're talking about now. But the two-step authentication is available for your Gmail account and for a lot of Dropbox and a lot of other accounts. And most of those covers all your data, like Dropbox. Mm-hmm. The two-step authentication will cover all of your data, so it's a good protection.
But if you don't change devices, then you're not hit with it every single time. It's only when it would supposedly go to another device, which I guess is that what would happen if someone was trying to steal your password. Obviously, it would be coming from a different device than yours.
Right.
And that's the tip-off, right?
Right. And yet you can actually, for some services like Dropbox, I believe that when you set it up, they ask, do you want us to keep from asking you on this device that you're working on now? So you could ask for that two-step authentication all the time if you wanted to. But of course, most of the time for convenience, you don't want to be asked over and over again when you're using your own computer.
Yeah.
So you can set it up that way if you like.
It is kind of a pain in the neck. That's one of the things I like about Touch ID. I mean, I never used to use a PIN number on my phone, but ever since Touch ID, it's easy. Mm-hmm. Ben's making another tick. All right.
Well, I think that's why Apple didn't actually put this on originally on their cloud data.
What?
Because Apple likes to keep things as simple as they can, and so they did not implement this. And now they're kind of forced to. I think Apple has actually gone on their reputation a lot. The company that doesn't have as many viruses as PCs do and things like that. So they've got a good reputation in security, and this was really, in my opinion, a black eye for them. Now with their new thing that they announced, Apple Pay.
Yeah.
It's a shame that this happened because it does put a little question mark there that wasn't there before.
Well, again, when I watched the keynote, I mean, it was funny because they gave a demonstration of Apple Pay, and it happened so fast. He said, would you like to see it again? Because
yeah.
It was so fast, put them in and it's done. It's $23 for you and 72 cents for your sweater, and she just holds up her phone, hits the device, and hits the Touch ID, and it's done. Bing, and it's done.
Well, the really neat thing about it, though, is that it should be quite a bit more secure because they're using what's referred to as tokenization, where every purchase that you make will have a unique ID, and your credit card number and your information is never really sent on.
It
that
is.
ID number is sent on. That should be, in effect, thwarting
Yeah, the
hackers.
cashier doesn't even know your name. He doesn't
Right.
know anything about you. I mean, it's all completely held secretive. It's not, none of it is transmitted. Basically, it's just you do it, and it's done, and you don't. I mean, it's certainly a lot more secure than handing somebody your credit card.
That's right.
You go into
That's
a
right.
restaurant, or whatever. You go and you're handing somebody your card. I mean, it's not that difficult to copy the information. So. When was the last
Well,
time? When was the last time you went to a store and remember those old credit card that you put? They would put the credit card and then they go, and they would they put it over the slip and they would take an impression of your card.
Oh yeah, I too remember the '80s. That was fun.
well, there are still some places using that today.
Where in the United States?
Yes, yes, there are.
Where? Who uses that?
There are.
They
Small-
have to be like those. I'm sorry, like they have to be like like the old ladies, using like the spinning wheel, making yarn in like the old world, like cabins and stuff like that. And then there's someone with that giant credit card scanner, like, just
Well,
right
I
there.
saw one not too long ago, to be honest with you. So
Where? Where did you see it?
I-
And why didn't you say to this person, why aren't you using Square One or there's a million alternatives that are far more secure than taking an impression. Was it a vendor, a street vendor? I mean,
I can't remember where I saw it.
if I saw that, I couldn't forget that. Wherever you go, even go to a street vendor, we have these little things. I mean, they have little, it's on their iPhone. They just square. They just scan.
Yeah, but our data, our processing today is just so poor and so riddled with ways that hackers can get in. Now the Home Depot thing is supposed to have bigger than Target breach was.
Yeah, we did a little bit on that story the other day, and we're going to continue to follow along with that. But it can't be any less secure than someone taking your card and going ching ching.
No, I'm sure it's not. But the point is that this Apple Pay will be more secure, and they've got a bunch of people already lined up for it. So all the major banks and credit card companies and Target and all of them are already. Target was the first one in line, right?
Well, it looks to me like it's going to be very secure. The way that the methods that they're talking about, I think that it's something we should talk to Charles Tendell about because he obviously knows what he's going to be on the show on the 29th, by the way. I think Ben. I don't know if you answered me that Charles is going to be on the 29th with Tunnel X, and so if you don't have to be with us that night, you have the night off.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out if I can say no and something can happen there, but
Okay,
we're figuring it out.
you can be.
But just real quick, I mean, it's good that Apple is jumping on board with this whole NFC payment thing. I mean, debit cards pretty much replace cash nowadays. Sure, people still keep cash on them for those few places that either don't take a debit card or it's always good to have a little bit of cash on you. But I mean, if your phone can replace a debit card or even like
Your wallet.
yeah, or even your wallet. But I mean, it's I'm trying to think of a situation where people, because to us it may seem insane, but some people, they don't have smartphones. So I'm trying to think of the burner phones that you buy at drugstores that you load the prepaid minutes on and things like that. I wonder if there could be like a prepaid smartphone that then you could put an app on it and have all that kind of stuff.
I think this is synonymous to when I still go into the express check line and
Somebody writes a check.
writes the check,
Yeah.
and I'm going, oh my God, I'm wondering if it's a generational thing. I mean, I think that eventually the people don't want to have the smartphones and they don't have they still have the checkbooks. I think it's going to die out eventually. I mean, I think.
Oh, that's dark.
I know, but it's going to.
Adapt or die, folks. You heard it from Craig Grossman.
Yeah, I think eventually it's gonna, and we'll get into the Gen X and I think the baby boomers still will qualify for that too. I think it's the pre-baby boomers that are whatever that
Now-
name.
Now the interesting thing here is if this Apple Pay takes off, and it looks like it's going to, Apple will make a lot of money on it because they're going to be charging for that. But the interesting thing is they will have to expand it into an app or something so that other phones could use it as well. Won't you think?
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, the thing that does the wallet is called Passport. You know, the iOS 8, the next generation. Basically, you'll be able to take your card and use the built. You can use if you already have it online, you can use it, but you can just say just use the ones that I have. But any new cards, or if you want to, you can just take a picture of the card now with the camera in the phone, and then it will then they'll check with the bank to make sure it's your card, and then that card is on file. You don't need to carry that card with you anymore.
Right.
Of course, you still. It's arguable, you know. If you go to an ATM, well, you still can't use your smartphone with an ATM. You're still going to need cash if you still want to carry some cash. And Ben made an interesting point. He says, well, you know, I don't like carrying cash around, but I don't think cash is going away in the near future. You're still going to need cash. Yes, you can use cash for parking meters now, but it has to be on a parking meter that's that's subscribed to the service, and certainly not all of them are. I think we're in a state of flux. I think eventually things will start moving over to wireless transactions, but I still think we're going to need cash at least for some time. I'm
just saying, do away with the penny. We don't need that thing. It's awful.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Well, what about then they have, I think the largest denomination now is the $100 bill, but they used to have the $500 bill, the $1,000 bill. They had the $10,000.
Yeah, but after 2007, everyone's broke anyway, so they just did away with the 500 and thousands.
That's
that rich.
Well, you know, talking about everybody being broke, don't you think that when we go to these mobile payments like this Apple Pay, it'll be so much easier to make a purchase? I mean, they demonstrated that. Craig, and you were talking about it. Yeah. How much easier it'll be. Don't you think it'll be a lot easier to rack up some really big charges and people get in even more trouble than they're having now with credit card debt?
Well, yeah, of course, you'll have an app to warn you that you're spending too much.
Yeah, maybe.
Notification when I spend more than X amount, you could have that. But, you know, you get a statement. Of course, you can access probably the statement at any time. It could keep records of your transactions. I know that when you do it, a lot of the companies will say, "Would you like us to email you a copy of your receipt?" You know, when you're standing right registering, you'll say, "Yeah." I say, "Yeah, do it anyway." It doesn't cost.
Really? You say yes?
We'll keep track of it. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly, but Craig, you say yes?
Sometimes, yeah, I say.
You're as bad as the people that write checks in line.
I just want to see what it's like. I want to see.
Oh yeah, of course. No, okay.
Get one, and it's very effective. I still keep the paper receipt because I use that. I keep that for record purposes, but I think that eventually it's going to. I don't know. Are we ever going to? Do you think we'll become a cashless society?
At some point we might, but I think we're quite a ways from that.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, it's kind of one of the traditional notions of currency is the gold standard, all that stuff, but it's always been physical. You always had either paper notes, you had coins, you had either collateral of some sort. But I mean, once it's all digital, what really keeps it in check? And that's getting into economics, which I know next to nothing about. But it's when everything's digital, how much value is there really? You have to put a lot of value into something that doesn't technically exist.
Yeah.
So.
Well. Okay. Well, I think that well, again, also, I mean, PayPal and things like that are not going to go away. That's all part of it. And look.
I'm just waiting for the Bank of Apple to open.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it might not be far away.
Might not be. Well, all right. So anyway, how to secure your nude photos and other data in iCloud. And again, you can read it at CompuKiss, COMPUKISS.com. And so let's go to this next story here.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about money, right?
Yeah. I mean, can you believe a good computer for $200? I know you can get computers for $199, but they're not very good.
Well, what I'm talking about in this article is that Microsoft is actually giving away their operating system or charging very small amounts for it for probably a limited time. And they're offering Windows 8. It's Windows 8.1. The only difference is between that operating system and the one you get on a regular computer is that it's called Windows 8.1 with the Bing search engine. So Bing is the default search engine. That's all. That's different.
So you can change it to Google? I mean, if you want.
You can change it to anything you like once you get the computer. So it runs just like the others, but it's a special version that they're reducing the cost on so that the manufacturers can sell these computers for right around $200. The reason for that is because Chromebooks have been eating into Microsoft's Windows area recently.
That popular?
They have suddenly become more popular, and the reason is, of course, because most Chromebooks are running right around $200.
All right. Well, let's take this a little further when we come back. We're at the bottom of the hour. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Sandy Berger is our guest for both hours, and we're going to continue on with him. We've got another News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up. Stay tuned for more Computer America. We'll be right back.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 120,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy and major car companies filing for bankruptcy, Cover America Auto Care has announced revolutionary, inexpensive mechanical breakdown coverage that is now available to the general public to save consumers thousands on auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for drivers to call who own a vehicle that is less than 10 years old for a free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number is 800-483-2514. Drivers who are covered with this auto protection will not have to pay for a covered repair again. This is the auto coverage now sweeping across America at a fraction of what dealerships charge and is now available to the public by calling today. The number to call is 800-483-2514. 800-483-2514. That's 800-483-2514.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-3-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Salutations, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the STM Bags Cape for Nexus 7. Now, we were very happy with the soft leather sleeve and separate easel we had for our Nexus 7. And STM Bags took about 10 seconds to get us to move on. Their cape, the little box says it's the superhero of tablet protection, not bad, has a hard back with a plastic edge groove the tablet snaps into, and a fold-away front cover with a tongue-through loop tab closure. So the front cover has 2 hard slats within it. You fold it back and behind with the tab coming up into the loop to make it into a sweet little easel. You can also just flip the cover behind the tablet and the whole thing is not much thicker nor much heavier than the tablet is when naked. So bottom line, the STM Cape gives our tablet much better protection and more self-contained versatility without adding much to its bulk. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour. Sandy Berger is still here with us, and we just got into a story about good computers for under $200, which kind of sounds impossible, if I'm being completely honest here. It's not that it can't be done. It's just that good in comparison to others. With technology especially, you get what you pay for, and $200, I know it seems like a lot, but for a computer doesn't sound like a lot.
Well, it's not a lot, and I didn't say under $200. I said around $200, and I'm expecting them to.
Okay.
Yeah, they might be a little bit higher than that, but Hewlett-Packard, Dell, and Lenovo have all announced or that these are available or will be available shortly. There's actually a rumor that HP Stream is going to have a laptop called Stream that'll be available at the holiday selling season for closer to $100. So it's pretty amazing. And I don't think that these are going to be everywhere. I think you're going to have to look for them. But that they're going to have things like HDMI ports, good screen resolution, pretty good hard drive storage. They're not going to be computers that you're going to use for CAD or anything like that, or video processing. But if you just do email, basic computing, light gaming, I think these are going to be adequate computers. And that does put the pressure on some of these other devices, like why would you want to pay $150 for an e-reader when you can get a full-blown computer for $200? Now that goes back to what we were talking about, Ben, about dedicated devices. But they're out there, and it's amazing that the prices have come down that much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what was it? We saw that one that one Chromebook that sold for $1,500. But I think that was just no. I don't think anybody bought that. I mean, it was just.
I don't think so either.
That was the Pixel, right?
Yeah, the Pixel, exactly. Mm-hmm. The Pixel Chromebook.
See, I want to own that just for the sake of owning it. I don't think it'd be really useful, but it'd be fun to own.
Yeah. It could be.
Okay, I just want to tell everybody that there is a drawback that I saw after looking at most of these. I went and looked at the specs for HP and for Dell and for Lenovo machines that were right around $200. And the biggest drawback was poor battery life. Although some of them had 4 hours, which isn't bad, on a more high-end laptop, you can now easily get 8 hours of battery life. So you have to look at that. And also some of them, most of them had 2 gigs of memory, and I would rather see a computer with 4 gigs, that's running Windows 8.1. However, you can always add 2 more gigs of memory, so that's not a huge problem.
Sandy, are you in the chat room? There's somebody called Sandy in there. I don't know if that was you.
I am in there.
Okay, sorry. I gave you a voice status, so it made you the guest. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right. Okay. So, some people, Fortress put in a thing for a $200 computer for Acer, which is from Best Buy, $200, 2 gigs of memory.
This is a weird time for computers, I think, is because you're getting these computers that are around 200, under 200, the Chromebooks, the netbooks, whatever they're calling them nowadays, and then you're also getting, at least I'm seeing more and more, the very, very high-end computers that are running, $4,000 can be souped up to about $5,000 to $6,000 a piece. Dell is pushing their Alienware line, and one of their new computers is, I want to say, in the $5,000 range. So at least I've just been noticing you're seeing a lot of low end being advertised, and then you're seeing a lot of really high end advertised.
I think you could be right. There are some high-end, really high-end things out there, but yet, who is using the really high-end stuff? Ben, what's your thought on that?
You know, it's two groups. It's one is going to be the gamers, because gamers always have a penchant for
Yes.
really good systems, and the other one are early adopters. And by early adopters, I'm talking about the 4K. 4K resolution, 4K TV, 4K display, 4K everything. And if you want to run 4K on your computer, you're going to need, one of those $1,000 graphics cards, preferably 2 to 3 graphics cards if you want to have a multi-monitor setup. And then, of course, with three $1,000 graphics cards, you got to build a case around that. So, I mean,
I can't imagine anybody right now wanting to have 4K on their computer. That's just me. It's too early. It's too early for 4K, unless, of course, you're into 4K video editing, which would be one reason to do that.
If you're a gamer, the more resolution that you can see.
That's true. Gamers are different. Yeah.
Breed. I mean, and when you see, and they can see all the shadowing and the translucence. You can turn on all the additional features, that you would may not have on a lesser system, and you can turn them all on, and to get the ultimate graphics experience.
See, and the thing is that the people who grew up with video games, like not the 80s Atari style video games, but I mean like real actual video games, they're young, mid, late 20s. They're people who have probably no relationship. So, let's just get that out of the way. No girlfriend, no nothing. They probably rent, and they had their first job, so they're flush with cash. They're not at the point where they have a bunch of responsibility and a lot of bills. So they're, instead of getting into hobbies of yesteryear, it was like, yeah, I'm a young 20-something who likes to go to so-and-so, and I like to cliff jump and paraglide and whatever people used to do. Yeah. Now, or go buy fancy cars. Now they're into computers. It's their hobby, and they're not, where people wouldn't mind paying outrageous amounts for a car. People don't mind paying outrageous amounts for a computer.
Yeah.
Just observations from someone who's not really observing anything.
Well, you make some good points. So instead of, I guess, as Ben said, if you have extra cash and they're just spending it on the games, rather than going out for a good meal or going out on a date or whatever.
Well, that's what a lot of gamers do. They just play games, and that's the truth.
Dating is the ultimate game. I mean, you have the challenge, and you have the different things you have to accomplish, and you score points, and
No, it's see, for social anxiety people and people who grew up behind a computer screen who tend to have social anxiety, it's not a very appealing game.
Human interaction game, the ultimate game, I guess. All right. Well.
Okay.
See, but we have Sims for that, and I win that every time.
I see. Okay. All right. So, anything more in this article before we go to the next story, Sandy?
Oh, I think we pretty much pounded on that one.
All right. Well, good. Well, then let's go to this next one. And I found this intriguing. Again, a story from CompuKiss.com. These are stories that Sandy has written. You wrote this today, as a matter of fact. This one came out today.
Mm-hmm.
Windows 9. We've been talking about it and speculating with the different correspondents and what it's going to have, what it won't have, what they're changing. Here you take a slightly different angle that we really have never ever discussed with any of our other correspondents. So Windows 9 coming soon, and you say Microsoft may move to a subscription basis for Windows. Now, where does that come from?
That's pure opinion. That could be on the opinion page.
I like a pure opinion. That's what we have you here for, is pure opinion. Okay.
And I don't think it's coming with Windows 9 or whatever Microsoft decides to call the next version of the operating system. But they are coming out with Windows 9. Actually, this month they're supposed to come out with the first preview version. And after that, as you know, it usually takes a few months for them to actually, before they come out with the real version for the consumer.
Right.
But I do believe that Windows 10, they are going to move to a subscription basis.
Well, what made me first sit up and take notice of this is because I was under the impression, or was becoming more aligned to, or hearing more rumors about, that Windows 9 would actually maybe even be offered free as a free update, a free operating system, or almost free, very, very inexpensive, 10 or $20. So that's why I said subscription. Well, why, if they're going to be offering it for a low price, unless you're hearing different. What are your thoughts? Do you think Windows 9 will be necessarily free or nearly free, or?
No, I don't. I think that Microsoft is still out there to make some money.
Well, I thought of it more of as an apology for Windows 8. Sorry about that. Here, have Windows 9 for free. On us.
Well, they certainly haven't done that for any other. I mean, do you remember Windows ME?
Yes, Windows.
Okay, and it went away very quickly, but the next operating system that came, they charged a full price for.
Microsoft, a lot has happened since those days. A lot of things have changed.
Yes, it has.
But computing has completely changed, and Microsoft, that Windows 8 and 8.1 is almost considered to be a misstep for Microsoft, and you see the fired executives from Microsoft to prove it. You can just see what happened, and how, and going back to 9 is sort of like a reconnect with consumers, what they really want, because Windows 8, they didn't listen to consumers, and had they, I don't think that ever would have happened. So I'm not saying this as an apology, but certainly as making it less expensive. I've heard rumors and things that was going to happen, or some similar. It was going to be very inexpensive, not necessarily free maybe, but certainly very inexpensive. Especially if you have Windows 8 or 8.1, they're going to upgrade you.
Well, if they came out with Windows 9 and they gave it away for free, I think it would be very hard for them to come out with Windows 10 and then charge a full rate again, as they have in the past. I mean, Windows basically has been very expensive.
Yeah.
But one thing that I base my thoughts on is that this version of Windows is code-named Threshold. And to me that means that it's transitional, that they're on the verge of something different.
Are we reading into names now?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to do that a little bit, I think.
Longhorn. Are you going to get a better steak with your?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but also Microsoft has really, really pushed this Office 365, the subscription version of Office. And while they haven't completely eliminated the standalone version, I believe that they will, because they are just making a huge push for the subscription service. They see that Adobe is doing well with it, and I just would not be surprised. I'm not predicting that they're going to do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were going to charge, say, $25 a year or something like that for your operating system.
Well, you realize that Windows is not the cash cow for Microsoft. I don't think it ever has been. Office really is the moneymaker.
That's true.
Microsoft, and all, that's where they make their real bread and butter. And because that's the case, that was one of the other arguments, is because as an apology for Windows 8, that we're going to, make Windows available, if not free, but for a very inexpensive, for almost an honorarium, like 19 or 29 or 39 bucks for Windows 9. But you're
but you're talking Microsoft here.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really think they're going to give Windows 9 away free?
No,
or at a really reduced rate.
Well, I mean, again, if they have to look at their competition, that's what Apple is doing. They're giving away most of their operating systems now for free. Granted, granted, Apple is in a unique position because they're not only selling the
Right.
software, they sell the hardware on which that software runs. So, but they're doing very well by it. I don't know. And because Microsoft does have Office as its true cash cow software.
It will be interesting to see which way it goes. It really will.
Okay. Well, interesting that the cheap version of Windows 8.1 with Bing PCs is appealing.
Well, maybe this test that they're doing with this 8.1 with Bing might be the test that they're doing to see what would happen if they do give it away or make it cheaper. What happens? So maybe they're using that as a test to see what happens with Windows 9 and Windows 10.
Yeah, I understand they're going to be adding Cortana too as well, which is similar to Siri.
I would hope that they would. I think I really do like Cortana. I think she's right now is even a little better than Siri, and it wasn't that I was disappointed that Siri wasn't mentioned in the Apple presentation.
Yes, it was. Siri was mentioned.
What was it mentioned?
With the Apple Watch, it's not the iWatch, it's the Apple Watch. Siri is built into the Apple Watch.
She's built in, yeah, but I mean they didn't say that she was improved in any way.
I guess that was sort of assumed. Maybe. I don't think they just came out and said Siri is better and improved. No, but Siri is going to be on the Apple Watch. You do know that. So.
Yeah, I know that it is, and I do like Siri, and I like Cortana, and I'd love to see Cortana, put right into the operating system on computers as well.
Well, now you watch the commercial where they have the iPhone next to the Windows Phone, and it's a Windows Phone commercial, and Siri, he'll ask Cortana to do something, and Siri says, "Oh my, I can't do that,"
Right. It's a good commercial, isn't it?
Yeah, it is good.
It's a good commercial. I like it, and I like I said, I do like Cortana. I think not that I've played with it as much as I've played with Siri, but from what I've seen, it does a good job.
Now, I myself have not played around with Cortana as well, but my understanding is that it's more fluent, smoother, the way it speaks. It's not quite as stilted or segmented, more human sounding.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're saying that Windows 9 is going to also have Cortana added to it?
I'm not saying it will. I'm saying I would like to see it.
Okay. All right.
I would like to see that.
I wouldn't mind seeing it in the same capacity that Microsoft SAM used to be. Just another feature, kind of not really hidden away, but tucked away in its own little corner. And if you want to use it, let it. But I think they've shown with like the Kinect for the Xbox, when you try to make something mandatory and you try to make it a main feature, especially when people aren't used to it or asking for it, like I don't think they're going to push voice commands are going to control the computer at all. They won't push that.
Ben, would be just like Siri or Cortana on a Windows phone or an iPhone. It's there, but you don't have to use it.
Yeah, I don't use that up. Do you use Siri that much on your phone, Ben?
No, but even though it's there and it's not, and you can use it, but you don't have to, Microsoft tried to go the exact opposite way with the Kinect and the Xbox One, where they sold it as a mandatory device. You had to use it, and they kept claiming time and time again, it is the best way to control your Xbox experience. So as long as they don't do something like that with Cortana on a home PC, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I can't see that they would do that. I think to me, Siri or Cortana or Google Now, any of those are something that you can use if you want to, but you don't have to.
I think they're an adjunct. In other words, it's just like the mouse doesn't do everything and the keyboard doesn't do everything. You need them both. I think just adding Siri or Cortana in that mix will make it more proficient. Make it more proficient. In other words, I could be using my mouse and my keyboard, and I'm typing something, and I go, oh, I need you to look up, this on Google. Look up XYZ on Google while I'm typing away and doing something else, and then that'll just pop up. I think that's convenient. I think that it will add itself as a natural extra extension to our way that we interface with the computer. I think that's a typical example. I'm typing something, or I'm using my mouse and I'm typing something, and I have to look something up. I Google, check out the Cortana's, check out the subscription fees on Google, and it'll just go ahead and do it. I mean, I can see that happening. Ben, could you see yourself doing that?
Yeah, probably. It's voice control. It has ways to go, but I mean, I don't see why not.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
And yet it is already available on Google on your PC.
Yeah, but the point is, you have to be in Google and
That's true.
You see, what I'm talking about is I'm not in Google.
You're just saying you can use voice commands anywhere.
Right. Yeah, I'm in Quicken and I'm doing something else,
right.
and I think about, Cortana, I need you to check something out on Google for me, and while I'm doing other things, and she'll do that, and then come up, and then I don't have to go ahead and do it and type it manually. That, I think, is very, very slick. And
I agree.
Okay. This other story that I want to do with you is again another one that you wrote that says Windows 7 will be disappearing from store shelves soon. What's now, we kind of knew that, but you have something else to talk about in this article.
Well, what I talk about in this article is the date that this is happening, which a lot of people don't realize how soon it's coming. October 31st of this year is what they call the end of sales date for Windows 7. And so, yeah, that means that most places will not have new computers being offered with Windows 7. And right now, you can still get it. They're not that easy to find, but you can still find Windows 7 computers. And after that date, you won't be able to find them so easily anymore.
So what is that? Yeah, go ahead.
You might still be able to find the business edition of Windows 7, but you'll pay a premium for that. So it's not what most people want.
You think people will pay a premium for it?
No.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, the average home user anyway is not going to want to pay a premium for it.
I would have liked to see that happen the end of the Windows at the introduction of Windows 9. That's what they should have waited. They should have waited. They should have waited to the introduction of Windows 9, and Windows 7. Now you've got your moratorium, and we're going to cut you off here. So then people can just go to Windows 9 and not go to the 8. But they're not.
I agree with you. But that's not the way they're going to do it, evidently, because they've already set the date of October 31st.
Ben?
They know. Okay, look, even though by the media, by everyone else, by every standard that we talked to, Windows 8.1 wasn't that good. But Windows is still trying to sell this product. They can't just say, okay, we've heard you folks. We hate it. We hate 8.1 too, so we're going to let you skip it completely. They're still trying to sell it, Greg. I mean, it is a source of income for them.
Yes.
Right, and that's the thing with when you talk about giving away Windows 9 like as an apology for Windows 8, I just don't ever see Microsoft in a position that they're going to do that.
It was an idea. I threw it out there.
And I keep harping on it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It probably won't come to fruition, but if it does, I can go on record and say, on the September 10th show,
we can pretty much guarantee that they're not going to try to apologize.
Right. And Windows 8 might not have been that good, but it was a lot more secure, etc., etc.
And faster.
And they made it a whole lot better with Windows 8.1.
Yes, they did, and the Windows 8.1 upgrade or update to it.
Right. So, it's not like they never improved the original Windows 8. They really did, and they almost could have called that Windows 9 because it was quite a bit different.
Yep. No, it was. Well, I'll tell you what, we're pretty much out of time. Sandy, again, and for all of you out there, you should always, check out our website. CompuKiss.com is Sandy's website, and you can see all the things that we
90 seconds.
You can see all the things that we talked about tonight are there, and again, all the Google Docs document. We're going to leave that up for you on our show notes page at ComputerAmerica.com. I guess, Sandy, we're going to see you next month in October, and again, it's always on the second Wednesday of the month. That means you'll be back on the show on the 8th of October with more gadgets and things to talk about. And I want to thank you for being with us here tonight.
All right, it was fun.
60 seconds.
Stay with us to the end, and we're going to say goodnight. Right. Hang out tomorrow night. Gene Steinberg is going to be here, and yes, we're going to talk about all the stuff that Apple talked about, and Ben's going to have so many tick marks tomorrow night.
Yeah, I probably will.
Yes, you will. And of course, and then in hour 2, we're going to have computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Again, thanks everybody for listening, and hopefully you have a good evening, and we will see you tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
Seconds.
Good night.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, and we are out. Thanks everybody for watching the show. I know if you're watching us on the live computer video streaming page. Hopefully, Sandy, you'll be with us live next month.
I'll see. I am live. I keep telling you that.
The camera.
Maybe I'll get my camera going again next month. All right. See you then.
Right. Thanks everybody, and bye.
Good night.